Attorney General Bondi, does a convicted sex offender like Ghislaine Maxwell deserve special treatment and privileges in prison? Yes or no?
Let me be crystal clear on this. No. And
Thank you.
Let me keep going. No, let me keep going.
Perfect. Well, I
did not know she was being transferred.
I asked you yes or no.
She was not transferred to a lower level.
Mr. Chairman, please stop the clock and remind the witness of the rules. One rule she needs to understand here.
And I'm glad that we're agreeing. So when we're agreeing, we can move on to...
The Attorney General stood before Congress, with trafficking survivors in the room, and said something flat out wrong. It took seconds to fact check. At a House Judiciary hearing, Deborah Ross pressed Pam Bondi on why Ghislaine Maxwell was moved to minimum security. Bondi denied involvement, then made a claim contradicted by her own department's rules. Watch this.
The unanimous consent?
Yes, please.
All right, the gentleman is recognized.
Mr. Chair, I have a few unanimous consent requests. I would like to submit into the record this New York Times article titled "Alex Pretty's Friends and Family Denounce Sickening Lies About His Life." I also would like to submit this Daily Mail exclusive interview with Vice President J.D. Vance titled "J.D. Vance Refuses to Apologize to Alex Pretty's Family After Spreading ICE Assassin Claim." One more. My last submission request is a New York Times article titled "FBI Agent Who Tried to Investigate ICE Officer in Shooting Resigns."
Without objection.
Thank you.
The chair now recognizes the gentlelady from North Carolina.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Attorney General Bondi, I think you and pretty much everybody else here and throughout the country believes that convicted sex offenders don't deserve special treatment or privileges in prison. And yet Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein's co-conspirator, received perk after perk in prison. In July, she had a 2-day interview with your deputy and President Trump's former defense attorney, Todd Blanche. Just days after that, Maxwell was transferred from a federal correctional institution in Florida to a minimum security camp in Texas, which she, as a sex offender, would normally be ineligible for. At this new facility, as the ranking member talked about, and by the way, it's nicknamed Club Fed, we've heard reports that she's been afforded special privileges: puppy time, private workouts, personal mail, secretarial services. Attorney General Bondi, does a convicted sex offender like Ghislaine Maxwell deserve special treatment and privileges in prison? Yes or no?
Let me be crystal clear on this. No. And
Thank you.
let me keep going. No, let me keep going.
Perfect. Well, I
did not know she was being transferred.
I asked you yes or no.
She was not transferred to a lower level.
Mr. Chairman, please stop the clock and remind the witness of the rules. One rule she needs to understand.
And I'm glad that we're agreeing. So when we're agreeing, we can move on to some other things. But I want you to know that every time she does get these perks, and it's been publicly reported, that the folks she's abused, the survivors who are sitting here, they see themselves as being denied justice. They feel re-traumatized. And I'm glad that we agree on that. But she should not be in that prison. And she needs to be moved back to a maximum security prison as soon as possible. But what she has told another committee here is that she won't cooperate with them unless she gets clemency from Donald Trump. It's just crazy to consider that she can be wielding this kind of influence within the administration. But that begs the question: who ordered her to be transferred to the minimum security prison that she was ineligible for? Who signed off on the special privileges? Was it Mr. Blanche? Was it one of your other subordinates? So please, can you tell us who sent her there, since you don't agree she should be there?
I said I do not agree she should receive special treatment. She was transferred, I learned after the fact, to the same level facility, and that is a question for the Bureau of Prisons. I was not involved in that at all. The same level facility, I don't know why, but you know, instead of talking about Ghislaine Maxwell, who hopefully will die in prison, you should be talking about Irina Zarutska.
I have a couple of
died on a subway.
Right, and
you don't talk about that.
I have been talking about it and actually helping with these issues. But we're going to move back to you.
I bet we are.
Yes, of course, because you're here to testify. That's what the whole point of this endeavor is. So of course we're moving back to you. It is all about you. So, as we've heard, she took the fifth in response to every single question in that committee hearing. And her lawyer dangled the offer of clemency. Should Donald Trump pardon or commute her sentence? Should she be released from prison, yes or no? You said you hope she dies there, so I'm hoping the answer is no.
I already answered that question.
Good. I'm very glad. I really like this bipartisan agreement about
when
what
it
should
agrees
happen.
with you, but you don't want to talk about Irina Zarutska. You don't want to talk about
I talk about her
murdered
all
by
the
a
time,
violent crime
but
offender
I am not
in
here
your
to testify before Congress. You are. That is your job today.
You're
That's what you're getting paid
obsessed
for.
with attack.
I want you to know that your own DOJ employee, he's recently been demoted and had some other problems, advises on pardons. Do you think he will be advising Mr. Trump on any kind of clemency or pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell?
I'm not going to speculate, and you couldn't even identify properly. That's why you don't want to talk about Irina Zarutska. You couldn't properly identify her relative.
I absolutely
It's embarrassing.
have been, and her family, by the way, appreciates all of the condolences, all of the help, everything that our law enforcement in North Carolina has been doing to help her family. Her family feels well treated. Thank you, and I yield back.
The gentlelady yields back. Gentleman from California is recognized.
I'd ask unanimous consent to enter into the record an article by former Attorney General William P. Barr entitled, "Why Pam Bondi Did..."
Okay, buckle up, because this one is next level infuriating. If you caught that clip from the congressional hearing, where Attorney General Pam Bondi is grilled on Ghislaine Maxwell's prison transfer, and she straight up says it was the same security level, hold on. She agreed there's an issue but then dodged explaining how it even happened. Yeah, classic deflection. But the facts that didn't make it into that exchange, they turn this into pure scandal territory. First off, straight facts, no spin. Bondi told Congress Maxwell was moved to a facility at the same security level. Not true. Full stop. Maxwell was at FCI Tallahassee in Florida, low security federal correctional institution, double fences, tighter controls. Then bam, she's at FPC Bryan in Texas. That's a minimum security federal prison camp. Dorm-style housing, unlocked rooms, open rec areas with just chain link fencing. Inmates roam freer. Basically no real perimeter lockdown like low security spots. NBC, ABC, even the Bureau of Prisons' own classifications confirm it. Low versus minimum. Two different tiers. She said same. It wasn't. That's not opinion. That's their own system calling her out. Now point 2. And this is where it gets really sketchy. BOP policy is crystal clear on this. Convicted sex offenders like Maxwell, with that public safety factor for crimes involving minors, are supposed to stay at least low security. No community access, no minimum camps. Period. Senator Sheldon Whitehouse spelled it out in his letter. To drop her to a camp, someone had to approve a special waiver. And guess who can sign off on that? Only the administrator at the BOP's Designation and Sentence Computation Center. Prison consultant Sam Mangle told NPR flat out, as far as he knows, Maxwell is the first person with her exact conviction type ever placed in a federal camp. Strings were pulled. Had to be. And point 3, the timing is explosive. Bondi says she wasn't involved. But come on, she's the Attorney General. The Bureau of Prisons is under the Department of Justice. She runs the whole show. This transfer happens just days after Maxwell sits for a 9-hour, 2-day interview with Deputy AG Todd Blanche, Trump's former personal criminal defense attorney. Transcripts the DOJ itself released show her calling Trump a gentleman, saying she never saw him do anything wrong. Clears his name, and poof, she's upgraded to what survivors call Club Fed. Then, just 2 days before this hearing, February 9, 2026, Maxwell appears via video for the House Oversight Committee, takes the fifth on every question, won't say a word. But her lawyer, David Oscar Marcus, drops this bombshell offer. She'll talk fully, honestly, if Trump grants clemency. Even says she'll testify that both Trump and Bill Clinton are innocent of any wrongdoing. As Rep. Suhas Subramaniam put it, she's literally trying to buy her freedom through her deposition. Survivors were in that room, wearing white. Rep. Dan Goldman asks how many tried reaching the DOJ and got ghosted? Every hand goes up. Every single one. These are people abused as kids, watching the woman who helped enable a Get Puppy programs and work release vibes, while they can't even get a meeting. And get this. Another inmate at Bryan, Julie Howell, speaks out, calls the transfer disgusting. She gets moved to a detention center in Houston real quick. BOP can move fast, when it suits them. This screams special treatment. Senator Jack Reed's letter nails it. Questions about whether Maxwell got this cushy spot in exchange for helpful info to shield the president's rep over public safety. Rep. Jamie Raskin called it a blatant violation of BOP rules. Rep. Ro Khanna pointed out the obvious. She didn't take the fifth with Blanche, Trump's guy, for 9 hours. But with Congress? Silence. Right now, no one's explained who approved the transfer. BOP won't comment. Bondi kicks it back to BOP, the agency she oversees. Multiple lawmakers demanding answers. Crickets. Trump? Back in October he said he'd have to take a look at a pardon. November? Didn't rule it in or out. Doors wide open. Bondi hopes Maxwell dies in prison. But she's the boss of the department that made this happen, and claims she knew nothing. At some point, I had no idea stops being an excuse, and starts being the scandal. This isn't justice. It's who gets protected, and who gets punished. Survivors ignored, rules bent, a trafficker negotiating from a camp, all while the top cop says not my problem. If this fires you up like it does me, drop your thoughts in the comments. Was this just a paperwork glitch, or something way darker? Like if you're raging, smash that like button, share it with anyone who needs to see the full picture. Hit subscribe and the bell for more breakdowns like this. Thanks for watching, stay vigilant out there. Catch you next time.